Hello fellow human, hope you guys have a fabulous day and let's read some I don't work here lady stories. To the first one. Sign, I don't work here. Wait, what? So kind of an anti I don't work here lady, but I work at PetSmart, blue shirt, khakis, and have had several stories especially since we're next to a Walmart, but when I went to a Hobby Lobby, I walked in and noticed the same uniform. I immediately prepare myself for the inevitable. Sure enough, while weaving through the endless aisles of Indian-made motivational crap, I hear, "Excuse me?" I turn and before I even get a word out, she actually reads my shirt and tags and says, "Oh wait, you're the dog trainer at PetSmart. I'm sorry to bother you. So I keep meaning to talk to you because I'm having some problems with my puppy. Oh, but you're not working? Don't worry, I'll just call the store. Okay, sorry, bye." And then she was gone before I could say a word, leaving me both equally confused and grateful. She actually did call the store and signed up for training class too. Well, it's always nice to see a rational person. It's situations like these that would make me want to help her for being thoughtful. On to the second story. Rich Butthead thought my buddy was a valet. Friend of mine is a driver for delivery service FX. He has a delivery to a hotel in a US city. He parks his truck around the corner, grabs the package, and hooves it off the hotel. Has a front desk person sign for it and leaves the building. Just as he goes outside, a guy pulls up in a brand new Porsche, jumps out, tosses the keys to him and says, "Park it close, I'll only be a few minutes." So my buddy hops in, drives the car down the street, parks it, and leaves it running, doors open, in traffic. He goes back to his truck and continues his deliveries. What a legend! Well, that's one way of dealing with entitled Kevin. The third story. Sweetheart, we don't work here. So I never thought I'd have a story to post here, but it happened. Just not in the way you might expect. I needed a few things for my house, so I loaded up my kids into the car and headed to the Dollar Tree down the road. Before anyone says anything, Dollar Tree is awesome and super cheap, great for single dads like myself. Now, my daughter is 3 and my son is 1 year old. I was in the aisle with detergent and Fabulous and such, keeping an eye on my daughter who was messing with the shelves a few feet away from me. After grabbing what I need, I head back to find her organizing the cans of air freshener spray usually kept in the bathroom, grabbing all the loose cans that had same colors and pictures on them and putting them back into the display box. Me, "Honey, what are you doing?" Daughter, "I'm fixing this. It needs to be fixed." Me, "Okay, but it's time for us to go. We have to get home before it's time for your sleepover at Granny's house." Daughter, dramatic sign. "But Daddy, I have to fix this. They all need to be together." Me, "Sweetheart, we don't work here. We need to go. If we are late, you won't be able to go to Granny's house." Daughter, dramatic gasp. "Oh no, you're right. We gotta go, Daddy. Let's go now." We then proceeded to pay, and the lady at the register heard the whole conversation and was laughing while saying I had such a great little helper. It was a fun time for all, haha. It's not one of the most dramatic poses like I've seen on the top pose of all time, but I thought it was cute and wanted to share. Well, this is why I love seeing the young kids in the store. They're so often delightful, surprising, and inspiring. Kudos to you, single dad. You're raising your kids right. The fourth story. A bit of trolling. A few years back when I was still in high school, that one day I was wearing a plain red t-shirt. Went into Target after school to get some snacks. Target was just about 3 to 4 minutes walk from school before I get picked up. There I was at the chips section, trying to choose which one I want when an old lady just walked up to me and asked me for something. I had my headphones on, so I couldn't hear anything. Decided it was too much of hassle to pause the music. I'm a lazy duck, so I just did a shrug off gesture and get back to picking my chips. She stormed off quickly. After a few minutes, I was walking down the aisle toward the register. She caught up to me with a Target manager, proper uniform with name tag, and started yelling. At this point, I just quietly paused my music to hear what's happening. She was going on how I was not helping her, not doing my job. Disrespectful? Well, that's true. The manager, of course, can tell straight away that I'm just another customer. He quickly explained that to her, but she just didn't back off. Immediately accused me of misleading. Why didn't you say so? You know that it's just rude and you're wasting my time. Blah, blah. So, me, with all my wisdom, decided not to say anything but use body language instead. First, I pointed to myself, then my mouth, then made an X with my hands. Like I was trying to tell them, I'm a mute. I'm not. The manager just followed with, you can't talk? Nodded. Being a troll here. The lady went from rage to full embarrassment and nervous in 2 seconds. She must have thought she shouted at a mute kid how I didn't speak up sooner. I just hurried my butt off to the register, paid for my chips, walked as fast and as far as possible away from Target and started laughing to myself. Karen, what do you mean by wasting your time? You were the one to seek out a manager to complain about a customer that you thought was an employee. The 5th story, a thank you to the man who defended me at Walmart. I'll start out by explaining briefly that we have just moved to the area we're living in. I'm extremely new to the area, and it makes me a little more nervous than normal. I'm legally deaf. That doesn't mean I cannot hear anything at all, but you definitely gotta speak slowly and very loud, especially with this pandemic and these masks. I can lip read really well, but with the mask, I'm at a loss unfortunately. I was wandering the local Walmart. I'm dressed in a bright yellow shirt and a pair of yoga pants, and I'm wearing my DOT-approved motorcycle helmet with a visor down instead of a mask. Masks are mandatory, but they never seem to mind letting me in as long as I keep my visor down while I shop. That makes me even more deaf than usual. My helmet is bright white, not hard to tell, I don't work there. There is no mistaking that I don't work at Walmart. I have my hearing aids in, but they tend to have a wide V effect with 3 separate mics, and I don't hear people behind me very well, if at all. It just mutes background noise so I can focus on what's in front of me. Even with the hearing aids, I have seriously difficulty hearing people with my helmet on. I clearly have a few items in my hand, sandwich meats and bread. I'm following the arrows they put down, and I'm squatting down looking for a can of Campbell's mushroom soup. Suddenly, there is a very aggressive repeated smack against my shoulder. I actually screamed because I hadn't seen her come up behind me and was not expecting anyone in this pandemic to be close enough to actually touch me. She scared the absolute hell out of me. I twisted and landed hard on my butt, partially landing on and squishing my bread. I can suddenly see this woman, and she's wearing her mask, gesturing widely. I can hear the murmur of her voice, but with the visor down and my helmet on, I cannot understand her properly. My hearing aids are pressed against the sides of the padding of my helmet and are moderately useless with the visor down. She doesn't react that I've fallen, just gestures widely and her voice is rising. I finally make out what I think is, "Here is the mat feel." It's weird the way your brain fills in blanks when you cannot hear someone or read their lips. I just shake my head and say, I don't know. I know my response is muffled by my helmet because she keeps at it. While I'm on my butt, I sign widely, I don't know. All the while shrugging my shoulders, shaking my head hard. Unfortunately to her, maybe it looks like I'm saluting her, still on the ground. She says in an extremely loud voice, "If I can hear you, and I'm wearing my damaged helmet with the visor down, you're speaking extremely loudly. Where is the cat food?" There's a man behind her wearing a mask who was socially distancing until she raised her voice. I see him approach quickly. He doesn't work there either. And I can hear him literally yell at her. Again, if I can hear you, you are loud. "Hey, lady, don't touch her. What is wrong with you?" This attracts the attention of nearby people, and thankfully 2 people who actually work there. I see the blue shirts coming, and I just skirt back from the lady as she turns away from me and starts bickering with the man. I cannot hear the most of it, but I can definitely see it escalating. I stand up, step back further, and brush myself off. I pick up my sandwich meats, but the bread is a lost cause. One employee clearly tries to de-escalate the situation and she is just shrill and gesturing madly. I can no longer hear the man. He's not raising his voice anymore. One of the staff, standing beside me now, I turn my face to her and I think she's asking me if I'm okay. I shrug and throw off a few signs. I'm deaf, sorry, don't know her. And I point aggressively at the lady who scared me. The man is explaining everything that happened to the other staff member. The second employee seems to understand that I'm deaf and just nods. She motions for me to step back further from the argument, and I do. And she puts herself between myself and the small knot of people. There is a brief heated discussion, employee shaking his head, some of which I can hear and some of which I can't, as the man speaks to the other staff. I can hear her briefly again, something about ever again. The lady is then actually escorted from the store, her cart left behind by one of the staff member. I was super surprised by that. When all is said and done, it seems he saw the whole thing. Things quiet down quickly. The customer who intervened points at me and flashes the OK symbol that most people know. Pointer finger to the thumb, 3 fingers out. I smiled and nodded. I signed and loudly said, "Thank you," before the Walmart employee led me back to the air to get new bread. I flashed the man the peace sign before I left and signed "thank you" again before being led away. Sorry you had to run into a Karen in the wild, but at least everything was okay in the end. The 6th story. So, I hucked it in a sewer. This happened yesterday afternoon, so I'm still waiting to see exactly how it all played out. I will happily update if and when I get more details. My best friend works at a swanky hotel, the kind that has a spa, 2 restaurants, a bar, salon, whatever, a pool and a hot tub and a gym. Really classy place. I don't work there. I mean, I'd love to work there. They make good money. But after this incident, I doubt they'd hire me. It was a Saturday, which is my only day off, and like I sometimes always do, I was at the hotel, just chilling out on their patio waiting for my buddy to get off work so we could smoke bowls and watch some crappy movies. It was my day off, so I was wearing my day off outfit, scum tier clothing, gray sweatpants, a dirty red Golgol Bordello shirt, and a pair of a ratty, torn, 10-years-old Nikes in red. Only a complete retard could have mistaken me for an employee. Enter complete retard. I'm watching people fight each other on YouTube on my phone and smoking a cigarette, leaning up against one of those brick not quite walls they put around fancy hotels. You know, the kind that only come up to about waist height and don't actually connect to each other any place. I distantly noticed the sound of a car pulling up, but like, who cares? This happens all the time there. My face is buried in my phone between drags for my American Spirit Black when suddenly something really hard hits me in my shoulder. It didn't hurt badly, but it stung and startled the crap out of me. Naturally, I spazzed out and almost dropped my phone from being startled. While I'm still collecting myself and remembering to breathe after I thought I was about to break my phone, a voice says, "Yeah, pay attention, kid." I'm 31 with a full beard and a dad bod. I cannot be mistaken for a kid of any stripe. Looking up, I lay eyes on the yuppiest mother ducker that ever traded up from the Gap to Banana Republic. He's middle-aged, bald, but rocking a ponytail, dead giveaway for a massive douchewag, with a blazer, distressed jeans, and Ramones t-shirt that still probably costs more than my car. The thing that hit me was a key fob for a really nice car. It was a BMW, but it looked like the ducking Batmobile, if the Batmobile was as shiny, opalescent blue and white. I don't know about cars, but it has those doors that opens up, like on the hinge, and it was clearly, really expensive. This baldy yuppie mother ducker is getting out of a leather man purse as he chides me for not paying attention. I'm still reeling from having almost dropped my phone on the ground as he brushes past me toward the entrance. As he goes by, he says, "I'm gonna need it at 8. If you're actually paying attention when I get back, I might have something for you." And he's gone. Walks into the entrance like he owned the place. Maybe he does. The key fob is sitting on the ground by my foot. The Batmobile is idling by the curb. Its weird sideways door still open. Now, quite frankly, I'm a jerk. If you look at my post history, you will see that I'm a jerk. I think cruel people should be treated with 100 more cruelty. I think what comes around goes around. So, what I did next should be no surprise. I closed the door. I've since been told this is called a gull wing door. Pressed the lock button while the car was still running and hugged the key fob in the sewer grate a few meters away. Then I just continued waiting for my buddy for another 10 minutes before he finally got out. He came out and was like, "Whoa, whose car is that?" I shrugged. "Probably some butthole." And then we left. The moral of the story, before you dismissively throw the keys to your probably very expensive car at some schlub who happens to be standing in front of your hotel, make sure he actually works there. My guess is that somehow this guy will still blame you and learn nothing. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.